Hey everybody, Joseph Estrada here with my man,
Isaac.
Rudy.
and we're here with Real Talk. Got a great topic today, and it's really diving into motivation, taking action, and overcoming fear. You guys know I just did something recently that some of the people out there don't know this, right? But you guys know. Do you guys know I'm afraid of heights?
I did not actually.
I did not.
You didn't know
Until you
that?
mentioned it.
Yeah,
Like
until you
this
mentioned
week.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
new.
So I'm pretty, I don't want to say deathly afraid of heights, because I'm that person that if something's hard in front of me, I want to tackle it and overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm standing somewhere and I'm overlooking a cliff, or even on a second story, sometimes I can look down and I get a queasy stomach, and sometimes I'll even get dizzy. So
Really?
almost deathly afraid of heights, right?
Wow.
So we recently went out and we hiked Half Dome, which didn't prepare for it, but we're always training, right? That's how the Estradas do things. And it was Valine, which is my baby girl. She's 16. Joey, 19 years old, super stud college wrestler. Valine, super stud, cross country wrestler. And then myself, 45 years old, hard trainer. I'm always working out.
He's
Our
a stud.
Pastor William,
Those guys are nuts.
who's awesome, right? You met him, and
Yeah.
then his brother Charles. You met Charles. Didn't go with us this time, and then another associate pastor John, which is William's brother-in-law, and then Robert, another brother from the church. So we entered in the lottery, which I didn't know this, and someone said this kind of happened during the COVID times, where they required people to enter into a lottery in order to go on these hikes, so that they can minimize the amount of people going.
So
up the
before,
mountain.
was it just like a free-for-all?
Before, I guess it was a free-for-all. They'd have up to like 1,000 people a day hiking up this mountain from all over the world.
That's honestly cooler now than I guess it was more private.
It's exclusive.
Yeah.
It creates a little more exclusivity. We all, and this is the funny thing, so the 6 of us all put into the lottery, right? $10 a person.
Okay.
My wifey, Jessica, put in for us as well. We didn't realize this. Whoever puts in the lottery and wins, the winner has to be there. And not just be there, but be there at the top of the mountain, which is 8.1 miles up, to sign us in, so that we can all go up and climb the subdome and then the half dome.
Okay.
Well, thank God Mama didn't win, but neither did any of us until Valine's got hers.
Yeah.
So baby girl was the only winner.
Of course she did win.
Of course she did win, yeah. And to be honest, I think a lot of the guys, when I brought it up, like, hey, Valine wants to go, they weren't like negative about it, but I could tell they were like, oh, shoot, a girl. Like, thinking like, oh man, this is going to be hard. It's not going to be an easy feat.
Kick their butts.
She's going to slow us down. Kicked all of our butts, dude. Her and Joey were like, so literally, me and Pastor were walking on the way back, right? I'm going to reverse here, and I'm going to go a little bit ahead. On our way back, he looks at me, and we're walking, and he's like, bro, are you kidding? And I'm like, what? And he's like, she's skipping. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I said, brother, they didn't even try. I said, they're doing everything they can in their power not to leave us all behind. I said, that's my kids being kind, because they would be done with this hike probably 3 or 4 hours before we even finished,
Wow.
just because of who they are. But so that was really cool and encouraging. But, overcoming things. I mean, I think all of us have, whether it's heights or whether it's public speaking, whether it's asking a girl out on a date, whether it's, going into a room full of youth that you don't know as a young man and making new friends. I think everybody has a healthy fear of something.
True.
Right? I think they do. And mine happens to be, and this is real prevalent for me right now because I just went through it, is a healthy fear of heights. I mean, the hike, 1 hour sleep, doing it 5.5 hours of sleep in 2 days before we got there. That was hard physically, just because lack of sleep and sleep deprivation, and it was a hard hike regardless. But that was nothing compared to me and Charles and all of us getting to the mountain and looking, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're going to climb that? Like, I thought to myself, like, this doesn't make sense. How are we climbing that? Like, how do people climb that? From afar, it looks even crazier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get there, and William's like, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like thinking, shoot, his energy starts carrying towards me, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I hear him mumbling under his breath, like, Lord, I have children and I have a wife, and, oh my gosh, get us through this safe. And I'm thinking, holy moly, my pastor's praying for our lives right now, and I'm about to climb this mountain on 1 hour of sleep, and I don't know if I should do this. And no joke, guys, so we get to the bottom of the base, right? We hike all the way up to the base.
Of the subdome, you're saying?
Of the subdome,
Okay.
Yep. Up to the base of the subdome. There's 2 rangers there, cool people. They're like, hold on, we got to check you guys in. So they check Valine in and say, okay, you're good for 6. They count us. I mean, they're strict. Like, okay, you guys are good to go. Before you guys go up, we have to have a talk with you guys, give you guys a little instruction and training, just to make sure we've done our part before we send you off there to a very dangerous situation. So rangers are talking to all of us, plus another couple of groups, and they're telling us, look, this is very dangerous. If you guys feel like you need to clip in, because we all had harnesses to clip in.
Clip into what?
Clip into some cables as we're climbing up the dome.
So you showed me the pictures. It looked like there was like handrails.
Yep,
Are
those
those
were
the cables?
Yeah,
Okay.
those were the cables. So it gets up to about an 80-degree descend at one point.
Oh, man.
Which you're like pulling. He said straight out, if you have never used your harnesses and clip-ins and you're not a professional climber or at least comfortable using them, we recommend you not using them because it's going to be more dangerous and take more time.
Because you're going to fumble around.
You're
going to
fumble around, you're going to try and reach the clip, and you could fall.
Wow.
So, one, don't use them. Two, if you really feel you can't do it without them, you shouldn't do it anyway.
Yeah.
And three, if you get to any point during the process before or mid that you are just panicking and overwhelmed with fear and don't feel safe, don't do it or go back down. So this was the talk that they had with us.
Yeah.
William was already saying the thing he was. We go to the subdome. Mind you, the subdome's pretty dang steep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of small switchbacks on the rock, which that's fine.
Was there cables there too?
No cables. Once you get past the switchbacks on the
How
rocks,
wide a trail are you walking on?
there's points where it's 12 inches. There's points where it's a couple of feet or so.
Okay, and then just
on those
sheer
switchbacks
cliff on the.
and sheer cliff. Yeah, I mean, you go out that way, you slip, and you fall. You're not stopping yourself.
Yeah, you're done.
You're pretty much done. So it was scary. We get to a certain point on the subdome, about halfway up, and we're like, okay, we're gonna sit because we're real tense. And William's like, okay, a little tense. He's speaking. We're hearing him. I'm like, I'm only feeling a little bit tense. And Joey and Valine say, look, you guys, if you're feeling this bad, maybe you guys just should wait and just don't go. Like they were worried for us.
Yeah.
They didn't want us to get hurt. And I hear that, and then I'm like, man, what am I doing? And I'm like thinking, I'm afraid for my life, Pastor's life, all of our lives. Now my kids are going up there. I can't let them go up there without me. My daughter, oh my gosh, all this stuff going through my head. What if this? What if that? Finally, for me, this is what had to take place. I had to get to that place of total fear and almost loss of control to say, how do I do this? Well, I know who I am. I'm a man of God. I need to pray. So I prayed, and I literally spoke out the words, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm not joking. All of a sudden, I got peace. And I said, okay, Lord, I got peace. I'm good.
Nice.
William was talking, and I'm like, hey, bro, we're good. He's like, what do you mean we're good? I'm like, we're good. I said, I prayed about it. I have peace. God's given me peace for all of us. We're good. Let's go. And it was done. I was gone.
You were good.
It was good. And then we went, John went up, so we finished subdome, went to half dome, get to half dome, the actual part where we're about to climb, and it's like, whoa, we forget gloves.
Oh, no.
We don't have gloves. And they're like, oh, no, you need gloves. You can't go up this thing without gloves. You're going to rip your hands apart.
Yeah.
It's wire cables.
Yeah.
You scrape, splinter a wire in you. I mean, it could be all bad. We're like, shoot. Well, luckily, everybody up there was so gracious. Everybody worked hard to get there. It's like going into the gym or like a CrossFit gym or on a run or like us last night, Frenchie, working our butts off and just literally pounding ourselves into the ground, going through some pretty intense stuff in our training last night.
Yeah.
It just creates like a brotherhood, if you would.
Totally.
Where we respect each other and we're like, you know what? We got each other's back. Everybody there had each other's back.
Good.
Some lady was like, oh, I got 2 extra pair of gloves. One for your daughter, one for one of the others. So I said, well, give them to Pastor. So Valine and Pastor are covered. Then someone else says, well, hey, there's a bunch of gloves down there. Then another guy, oh, I got a set of gloves. Like, man, the community of hikers were
Hooked you
taking
up.
care of each other, man.
That's beautiful.
It was beautiful. So we're like, cool, we're all gloved up. John goes. He's the one that has been there. This is his 3rd time hiking it.
Wow.
Says, I'll go first. Then Valine went, and then Joey, and then me, and then Pastor, and then Robert.
Nice.
And we, slowly ascended, climb. It was intense. It was, and I'm not gonna say, this is the cool thing. I'm not gonna say that just because I had peace, I wasn't scared, because I still was scared.
Yeah.
But I had peace about it.
Okay.
I could actually move forward, and I didn't let that fear debilitate me and stop me from making forward progress.
I have a similar experience.
Do you?
Yeah. So, I grew up in Yucaipa my whole life. Except for like during the Great Recession, we moved to Colorado for like 6 months. But anyway, Yucaipa my whole life, right? And so a staple of the Yucaipa community is going up to the Forest Falls Creek.
Yes.
And it's all covered in graffiti and stickers and bullcrap now. But when I was a kid, there was a sign posted next to the trailhead that said, "Beware, Forest Falls has claimed the lives of many adventurers." And I remember being 6 or 7 going, "Mom, like, what does that mean?" She goes, "Well, honey, that means people have died up here, and a lot of people have died up here."
Yeah.
And for some reason, that fear of Forest Falls attached to me. And for the entirety of my life, I was always like, damn, if I climbed Forest Falls, would it kill me? If I scaled up to the top, would it kill me? I wonder, right?
Yeah.
And so it was, I believe it was Memorial Day. And I remember Rudy was texting everybody, "Did you do your Murph? Did you do your Murph?"
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I remember that day, like I had worked like 2 months, no days off. And I was like, I'm not doing no Murph
remember
today,
that. I
right?
do, yeah.
And then I thought about it. I was like, well, I don't want to do the Murph, but I want to do something today. And I packed up a backpack, had these crappy shoes on, heavy backpack, like no professional gear, not even that experienced in rock climbing. I go out to Forest Falls, and I don't climb up right where like the waterfall is coming down,
Yeah.
but like off to the side a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And oh boy.
Kill that bad boy.
And so I,
Put that on
you know,
silent.
I've bouldered a little bit in Joshua Tree. Again, not super experienced, but I start climbing, and I get up to a certain point where I look down and I'm like, oh, there's no way down. And I'm 40 feet up. And if I try to scale down, I'm gonna fall. And if you don't know, like the cliff faces in Forest Falls are really old, like decomposing granite.
Yeah.
Slippery, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I guess I just have to keep going.
Wow.
Right? And so I got to probably 3 or 4 different spots during that climb where I was like, I'm screwed. I'm done.
Wow.
Like I don't, there's no clear direction forward. There's no trail. There's no nothing. It was just cliff.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I'm screwed. You know, you get a little shaky in the legs like you're talking about that fear. And I remember down at the bottom, there was this cluster, maybe 8 or 9 people all recording me, probably waiting for me to fall to my death. Right? And there was a couple times where it came close.
Yeah.
And so during different points in that climb, I would find a little spot where I could just sit and breathe and kind of meditate and think, okay, like I need to calm myself down because I'm getting panicked. And that panic's what's going to kill me. If I can calm down, sit here for 5 or even 10 minutes, really tactically calculate, okay, if I get to here, I can probably get to here, and then I can probably get to here. And basically, towards the top, there was this cluster of like 3 dead, like adolescent trees. And I thought, okay, if I can get to those trees, I can get over to the top of the ridge and I can get to the top where the creek is.
Wow.
And so I do. It probably took me 40 minutes to climb up this cliff, you know, breaks and everything included. And, you know, there was different times where I'm sitting there going, oh, this is going to be so embarrassing when the fire department has to come because I can get down.
Call the cops.
Check
call
my
them.
phone. There's no service.
You're
Zero
not getting
bars.
no
You know, it says
service.
SOS at the top of your phone. I'm like, okay.
You were thinking it said
Like,
SOL, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, there's nothing. I just have to climb this.
Yeah.
I just have to.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I did that was, one, I was always terrified of Forest Falls. Is it going to claim my life?
Yeah.
But that was when I was doing that really large transaction for my friend the Shears.
Okay.
And I was more terrified of failing during that transaction for my friends and family than I honestly was of falling to my death.
Yeah.
Because for me, that was my make it or break it moment in real estate.
Yeah.
If I don't succeed in this deal, I'm going to let all these people down. I'm going to let the company down, and I'm going to let myself down.
Wow.
And so it was kind of part of that process of overcoming that fear on the inside.
Yeah.
So
That's
I keep
heavy.
climbing. I get to the top. I get to those 3 trees I mentioned before. Sitting in between those 3 trees is a baby rattlesnake. So
Oh,
these 3 trees that were supposed to be my sanctuary, this was supposed to be it. I'm safe when I get to these 3
Holy
trees.
moly, bro.
Now there's a rattlesnake.
Alive baby rattlesnake,
Alive.
I'm
And
thinking, okay.
for those who don't know, baby rattlesnakes don't control their venom glands.
No, so
They
they're
give
more
you the
deadly.
full
They are
dose
more
and they will
dangerous.
kill you.
Yeah.
And so I'm like holding onto this like branch of this like dying bush, and I start grabbing pine cones and rocks and start throwing it where the rattlesnake is, because it's sitting on this like pile of
Wow.
gravel.
Wow.
And what happens is the rattlesnake's gravel that it's sitting on slides, and the snake slides whoosh, right past me. And I'm like, okay, climb up, get to the trees, get up to the top of the falls. I've never been to that second part of Forest Falls where the top part where the creek falls down the falls.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was amazing. There was like trout up there.
No
Did you know that?
way.
There's trouts up there.
All right.
And it was pristine. You know, nobody goes up there.
No.
Everybody hangs out at the bottom. That's where all the graffiti is. That's where all the trash is. That's where all the people hang out. There was actually a group of kids up there.
Yeah.
Going up there, you know, do what teenagers do.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
They climbed the same face?
No.
you did? Oh.
They told me there was a switchback. that I could have taken.
There's a safer way.
There's a safer way. I didn't have to, like, how the heck did you get up here? I scaled the cliff. They're like, no, you didn't. Like, yeah, I just scaled the cliff. And I was like, how did you guys get up here? And they're like, it takes like an hour, but there's a switchback you can take. It's not a super well beaten path, but you'll be able to see where it goes and stuff on your way down. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Wow.
So,
because you were going up there not knowing how you were going to get down.
Oh, no.
You just went.
I just went. Because I was like, okay, God, is Forest Falls going to claim my life? Am I one of those adventurers?
Yeah.
Not that day.
No, man.
Maybe if I did it a bunch of times, probability would eventually catch up to you. But that time was not my day. And I remember I, just hung out. I had a sandwich with me and feeding little bread to the trouts and stuff.
Nice.
Hung out up there a couple hours. And then on my way down, I found a point where I got signal. And I called Ryan Martinez.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you won't believe what I just did.
Wow.
And he's like,
and by yourself, bro.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. And so, I get down the hill, call Mom. I'm like, hey, Mom, everyone dies climbing Forest Falls. Yeah. Guess what I just did? Are you serious? You're freaking me out.
I'm done. It's fine.
There was another time I did that in Joshua Tree. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
This was like more like the trial of the mountain, like in my head, like it was a whole thing, like it was a cathartic experience. There was another time we're just bouldering casually in Joshua Tree. I think Cody was even on that trip with us. And I'm somebody who likes to push myself in those environments.
Yes.
Right? How can I climb this? I don't know. We'll go find out.
That's right.
And again, no rock climbing shoes. No, I'm wearing like Air Force Ones.
Nice.
And I get to this point again during that climb where I'm like, oh God, there's no way down. And I remember legs kind of trembling, thinking, oh God, like what am I going to do? Everybody else has already climbed back down. I can't even call for help. I'm so far away. And I just had to find the path forward because there was no way back. You could only go forward because going backwards was sure death.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's two different times.
Holy moly.
Yeah. That I've had gnarly climbs.
And it's crazy what you can overcome when you can put that fear aside. And it doesn't, so like, you ever hear of this? Fearless, right? Fearless doesn't mean you don't fear.
Mm-hmm.
The word in itself says exactly what it means. Break it down in two parts.
Yep, fear.
Fear less.
Right.
Fear is still there,
Yep.
but having the ability to continue moving forward, throwing rocks at the rattlesnake, me climbing and pulling my way up to the top,
Yeah.
figuring out a way, being fearless. The fear was still there, and that's the beauty of it. We can still move forward and have a little bit of fear because it's not that it's going to ever go away because we have emotions. We're humans. We have
Right.
feelings.
Yeah.
But we can fear less and overcome and find the strength inside through prayer. We're all going to find it in our own way. What's going to motivate us? I'll tell you right now, Pastor was motivated. He said it straight up at church. He's like, one of my motivations was I don't want to go all the way out this way, expend all this energy and time to turn back.
Yeah.
Right. Show up empty-handed.
That was one. He
Yeah.
said, but the big one was that Valine is a 16-year-old young lady who just ate this mountain alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. I cannot let this happen. This young lady. So sometimes we find motivation, me in prayer that day.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my kids were part of my motivation and my brothers that were with me. I want to be there to protect them if I could. I want
Right.
to be able to be up there with them for that aspect. But sometimes we find motivation in
Like that
others.
sense of accountability.
Yeah, that sense of accountability. Like we're a team. We're not going to leave anybody behind.
I think one of the most beautiful things about those types of experiences too is I remember coming home that day and being able to lay my head on my pillow
Yes.
and going, whoa, like I get to do this right now. There's probably a good probability that I wouldn't have been able to come home tonight to my house, lock my door, and put my head on my own pillow. And it puts those types of things in perspective.
Oh, it does. It does. It really does.
Because for a minute there, that option might not have been on the table.
Right.
But you yourself put it back on the table, and it's a cool
changes
thing.
things.
Yeah, definitely.
It changes things. I was actually talking to Ashley Driscoll today about something, and I was telling her what I did, and she told me, she's like, wow, that's funny. I listened to a motivational speaker, and he talks about that. He called it something, and I forget the name she used.
There's like a actual vocab word for it.
There's a vocab word for that, like finding that one thing that you do, and we love this. I always love to push myself on the edge to where I feel like I'm going to die, but I don't die.
Right.
And I actually survive and live through it, and it empowers me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel alive. Well, she had a word for it, and I told her, I was like, yeah, it's crazy because I went through all that, came back, and I'm pulled in a lot of directions, busy, overwhelmed, stressed, like everybody else. But I woke up that next day when we were back, and that stress wanted to come, and it wanted to hit me, and I said, no. I said, I'm good. Why am I stressing? what's the point of it?
Yeah.
Why am I going to stress, right? Why am I going to let this overcome me?
That's
You're not
what
about to fall off a mountain.
No,
Yeah, and that's
I
what-
survived that. This is nothing.
Right.
I tell people, man, stress is no good for you, man, because all it does is destroy your body. So why do you need to stress? It doesn't change anything.
No.
It doesn't change the results. It doesn't do anything. And there's no benefit to stressing.
No.
There isn't. So why do you stress?
Yeah, that's it. And when you overcome something like that type of obstacle
Yeah.
in your path, when you literally defeat your own demons,
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
slay them.
Yeah.
You know, all of opposition against you, which is yourself, and you defeat it. It's so freeing. It
Yeah.
really is.
I want to say something about Rudy, like what Rudy said, because I see where you're coming from about the stress, right? And I don't think that saying like stress in and of itself doesn't have its utility. I think it absolutely does. You have any number of things that I've accomplished because stress was one of those motivators. But I think I've always been someone who falls victim to being overwhelmed by that stress, and it's not an issue up until the point where you let that stress consume you, and now you have a lack of judgment from the stress. The stress is in and of itself isn't a bad thing. It's how you manage the stress
And not make decisions based on that,
Right.
clouding your judgment.
And that's something Rudy and I have talked about a lot
Yeah.
since I got here. When I came here, I was such a nervous wreck.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my! I needed to quadruple check everything. So unsure of myself. You guys remember?
And I'm like,
I
hey,
couldn't take one step forward
it's
without.
okay.
Yeah.
Relax. It's okay, because I'm all about being relaxed.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't focus on the problem. Focus on the
Solution.
exactly.
That's right.
That's
right.
how it,
There's no bad news.
there's no bad news.
It's just news.
Just news.
And we're going to find a solution for the news in front of us.
So,
Right.
like I said, our jobs here are to overcome obstacles.
Yeah.
How can we overcome obstacles if we're feeding into it? You know, we want to make sure you're at peace. You know, clear mind, because then that's when you can make the proper decisions. Is when you're at clear at mind.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say, hey, relax. Fine, find the solution.
Yeah.
And you've come a long way, man. You've come a long way.
Thank you.
From when you first walked in these doors, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, there's a lot of growth taking place in you and us. I mean, as a team. I mean, we were talking about it today. The vision that we have, like we're like, wow, imagine 3-4 years from now with everything that we have in front of us.
Yeah.
All the mountains that we're going to climb
Yes.
to achieve all of the great things in front of us, man. Oh my gosh. And is it going to be scary and we're going to have some fear?
absolutely.
Yeah, but we're going to fear less and we're going to walk one foot in front of the other together and we're going to get there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now there has been some uncomfortable feelings, but that's like I said, that's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff because you grow when you're uncomfortable.
It is. And you know, we were talking about it the other day, finding, and I mentioned what Ashley said, finding that one thing that you can do that's kind of like your reset. You guys have
Like
been
a
going,
recharge,
like
like
a
for yourself.
recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's like being on the brink of feeling like I'm gonna die and then living, and I love that. It makes me feel alive.
Yeah.
You, my man, we're talking about it. You and Liz and the team, a lot of the team have been going out to different concerts.
Yeah.
And you've found rejuvenation in that, right?
Yeah, because to me, music is life.
Yeah.
Like I have to listen to music. Like it's one of my biggest motivator. Like you can change your state just by listening to the right track of music.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's true. Yeah, right? Really, yeah.
Instantaneously.
And you know me, I like my hardcore stuff. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, really crazy. I love it.
So I just feel like a Super Saiyan, or just like when I listen to like really heavy music.
Yeah, I love it.
So, but that's my big motivator. And sometimes when I take care of business, I put some gangster rap on.
Nice.
And I just feel because it's all about money and taking care of business, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's the mood I need to be in.
There
So
you go,
I'm,
it shifts.
Yeah, so it shifted. So I listen to
Yeah.
like '90s gangster rap, and
Nice.
but again, and sometimes when you want to chill, sometimes we put on some ukulele music or some Hawaiian music here just to keep that state, be at that positive state.
Bob Marley.
Little Bob Marley, some
Chilling
reggae
out,
or
yeah.
something, But music to me is the biggest motivator of them all. Like you can accomplish everything with music. Just put some headphones on and just take care of business.
Nice. Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody has their thing. They just have to find it. Like my wifey will tell me sometimes, you need to go get a workout.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my bad. Am I that? My grouchy, she's like, yeah, you're a little on edge,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I need to. And sometimes a good strength workout is good, but when I'm there, I need a workout that's going to blow me out, where I feel like I'm going to die, my lungs are going to explode, and I keep going.
Yeah.
And then when I'm done, I'm like, man, I feel great.
Yeah.
I don't get that feeling.
No, I've been getting that lately too.
Right? You hate that
I hate that
You
feeling.
hate that feeling.
Ugh.
I love that feeling. It's like, we're all wired different.
But
Yeah.
making accomplishing like feats of strength
Yes.
is a big motivator. Like when we did our strength training.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
And
That was amazing.
we did a 17th week workout.
17-week
cycle. Yeah. And I PR'd on all 3 of my movements by 70 pounds.
Everyone.
Wow.
Yeah, 70 pounds.
No
Like,
kidding.
Yeah,
That's a huge jump.
I went from a 405 deadlift to a 475 deadlift, 17 weeks. Back squat.
You were at 475. I was at 465. You were 10 pounds heavier.
Oh yeah.
And Broker
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You went 475,
so-
bro.
Gnarly.
I just like, but it's like, you know, that's just the accomplishments is what made me to like, keep going.
Seeing the progress.
Seeing the progress, like, oh my, I can do
And
this.
it was hard. And sometimes getting under a 450, 460, 470 pound bar, let's not lie. That
It's
was
not
kinda
like
scary.
it's scary.
It was kind of scary.
I'm not gonna lie.
You're like,
I was
what the
rethinking.
heck, man?
I was rethinking life. I was like,
I was rethinking life. 175 pounds on his back. I get it.
no, like you know, when you have that much weight on you, like you're like something can snap right now.
Yeah.
Something
One
can
little
break.
Tweak.
One little
everything
tweak.
has to be right. You got to be in the right state of mind.
Yeah.
You have to have physical strength, power, control. But
And it's
we
crazy.
did it.
It's crazy how because we're very similar mentality wise.
Yeah.
But you're more like you need rage mode.
I get enraged.
You get rage,
Hulk.
and I get
Hulk juice.
I
Yeah,
let
and-
my rage out before I hit that set.
yeah, and I'm more like Zen. I'm like your son.
You're like Joey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to-
Joey's
I have
the
to-
same way.
I have to be a peace of mind, and I'm like, I got it.
Yeah. Joey's the same way, and I'm like, I will destroy it. Yeah. Let's go. You want to kill my what? My family? Let's go. And then I freaking eat it, you know?
Yeah.
Tear it up, man. Yeah.
Mine's a little different.
Is it?
Yeah, because I'm not Zen, and I'm not like that like aggressive outwardly.
Yeah.
It's more like to myself. You better put the fuck weight up, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What are you doing? You can't lift that. Yes, you can. You better lift that goddamn. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Nice.
Yeah, so you're a little
Nice.
bit of rage mode right there.
You're
Yeah.
in the middle, though, where I'm on this side of the spectrum.
Like,
Joey's on this side of the spectrum with Rudy,
Yeah.
and you're kind of in the
It's
middle.
crazy.
ground.
You see a switch in his head, like
My eyes change, everything.
his whole like demeanor.
Goes a little feral.
Yeah, you go a little feral. Things change. Some
like
people
Joe's-
get nervous when they see my eye. They're like, "What the heck's wrong?"
Beast mode activated.
Working out with Broken Joe.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I'll be one with the bar.
we're connected. Like, no, just kill it, Rudy.
But no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but it's always a good track, and it will inspire me to do whatever and overcome anything.
You love it. No,
Yeah.
that's good, man.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like talking about motivation and inspiring stories and, you know, overcoming fear, self-discipline, you know, because all this takes discipline. You know,
Absolutely.
it just does. Little bit of a different turn here that I'm going to take it, but we were talking, you know, there's so many people trying to fill that void and find fulfillment in the wrong ways. And it's like, oh man, you know, because a lot of them don't know better.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it yesterday, French, you know,
Yeah.
being programmed as a youth,
Right.
you know, from the ones around us that are programming us as children, you know,
Yeah.
our families. It's, you know, and they know what they know, and they teach us what they teach us based on what they know. And, you know, it's just a trip. But, you know, it's cool that no matter where we've come from, you know, I was homeless, living in and out of my car, you know, in my first AA meeting at 12 and a half years old, full-fledged alcoholic and drug addict by the time I was 14, and in and out of jail multiple times.
Wow.
And being through that and where I was, I look at where I'm at today, and it's like, wow, it doesn't matter where we've come from. It doesn't matter how we were programmed.
Yeah.
There is hope, man. There's
Right.
hope and there's light. And, you know, I find my hope in Christ, you know, my Lord and Savior, and that's where I had to go. You know, actually part of my major story, you know, 10/26 of 09, when I got clean and sober, you know, I got into my program, you know, and actually worked my steps and did what I was supposed to do. And kind of crazy, you know, I'd been involved in church all my life, but my relationship with God got better when I got into that program of I mean, I don't know if I should say it out loud because it's a private program, but, you know, a step program, if
Right.
you would.
Yeah.
That's when I found my relationship to become more real and connected. And it's like, man, you know, and I used to like hide and regret everything, but now I embrace it, and I love where I've been, and I love the struggles and the pain that I've been through, and the mountains I've been able to climb over, and the holes I've been able to climb out of by God's grace, and with good brothers and sisters around me like you guys, and none of you guys aren't sisters. You guys are my brothers, but you know, I got
Yeah,
sisters
I know
out there
what you
too. but yeah, it's just amazing, man. You know what we can do, and not just for ourselves, but what we do. What you did, you motivated those boys. You doing what you're doing, going out, taking the team out. You're motivating them. Me, my daughter, doing what she did. She motivated me and Pastor, and it's like we're all leaders here to lead by example. You know, and saying it is one thing, but doing it is another. And I guess, you know, I got to look at myself today and say, what example am I leading? You know, how am I making an impact and a difference? And am I encouraging people, or am I building them up, or am I putting them down? You know, it's funny because Frenchie and I and Joey and Caden were in the sauna last night, and we were a little psycho because it was 190 something degrees, and we were in there for a long time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know, and we said something. I said, you know, more so than ever, and this is how I've been for the most part of my life, but I've caught myself falling into the trap of gossip. I can be honest, I have. I've been so conscious about it as I've grown as a man and as a believer and a follower of Christ, trying to be the best man that I can be for others, that I'm like so conscious of it. It's really cool. Like I'll even pray like, Lord, you know, if those kind of things happen, give me the opportunity to, in love, shut that down. And it was funny because we were talking about it, and I don't know if you remember what I said. I'm like, you know, it's one thing to say like, you know,
it was
you
about
have nothing
like,
nice to say.
don't say something at all. But like, if you don't have something nice to say, look them in the eye and say it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, like, sometimes, you know, you just got to say something, and, you know, I love everybody, but it's like, we're dudes. We talk crap.
We're shooting the shit all night. You have to bleep me out.
Yeah.
Cussed a couple times.
You know, it's what it is. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's good. That's a good one. Like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. That's what Mama says. But, you know, as men, sometimes we want to talk some crap. Sometimes we got to get something off our chest. If you don't have something nice to say it to their face. Yeah. Be a man about it.
There's like a difference, though, because like me and Rudy will banter.
We'll
talk crap to each other. But it's like no hard feelings.
And it's not putting them down,
sometimes it's realer than that.
Yeah.
And you have some real talk, right? To lay down. That's right. And I think that's a different thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Than just like,
it is.
You know, Rudy calls me a quiha or whatever. Like that's offensive, but like not really, because it's coming from Rudy. Because I'll say something back to Rudy. You know.
Then we'll smile and hug each other and be like, "I love you, bro."
And then we're good. Maybe, let's go motivate each other. Let's push each other to be better. No, that's good, man.
I think the thing with discipline, though, and this is where it's hard, is I think people want it sometimes, but they don't want it enough.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can want to be physically fit enough to run the 6-minute mile.
Yeah.
But people don't want to do it bad enough to make the change. Or like even your story, right? Like how many drug addicts, alcoholics, they might want to recover, but they don't actually want to go through the suffering required to achieve the goal of overcoming that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard thing, because, you know, different experiences. You can try to lead a horse to the water. Like, oh, this is what you want? Okay, well, let me help you. Here's, you know, some things you can do. Here's some techniques. Here's some this, there's some that. But as soon as that victim mentality comes in, because you could have been that way, right? Like, oh, my life was so hard, and so this, and so that, and so I can never have this, or I can never be that, you know? And sometimes, like, I hear people, or I'll be talking with people who will kind of have that, well, I came from this background or that background, or I'm this color of skin or whatever. And I do think of your story a lot. It's like, well, you went from where you went to the level of success you've created. Like, what's anybody's excuse then? Yeah. Right?
It's true.
You have to just want it that bad.
You have to want it that bad.
You know, I always say, like, man,
you have to accept it. You have to accept your own.
And that's another thing too, because some people aren't really willing to look themselves in the mirror and say, okay, A, B, C, D, and E, F, and G are wrong. Yeah. Right? People don't like to. That's a hard thing to do, to look at yourself and be like, okay, this is not right. This is unacceptable. This isn't good enough. I need to change X, Y, or Z. So people aren't willing to do the introspection and actually do the work required.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I always say, man, life is not hard. Life is not easy. Life is whatever you make it.
That's right.
You know?
And it's good, baby.
It's good.
It's good.
Now, if you think life
is good, and we are blessed.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you think life is a struggle, then you're going to fight all your life. Yeah. If you think life is a paradise, then you're going to be blessed. It's whatever you make it, man. Whatever. We're all on this rock together. Yeah. You know? Just make it be positive, be the change. Because that's why I wake up every day, man. I wake up every day is how can I be positive one day?
Yeah, you're one of the happiest people I know.
I am, because do I have struggles? Sure, I do. But it's, you know, I'm here to make the world better.
That's right.
That's my only mentality is, how do I make life better? How do I make people better? How do I make my life better, you know? Just be good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. That's it, man. Build up and encourage people.
Build up and encourage.
Right? Make them better than they were before they
Oh my
passed.
God, that is so motivating. Like, I love doing that.
Yeah, it feels good.
It feels
really
good
does.
just to...
It inspires us when we do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love like motivating people. I love having our talks. You know, Cody too.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. I love, you know, being that guy where you guys come to me for wisdom. I love
all
it.
the time.
I love it, man.
All the
like,
time.
It's motivating. You know.
It is. And we learn in those moments, sharing wisdom, receiving at the same time.
And receiving
right?
at
Even
the
that
same
takes
time.
a level of humility, right? Because I'm somebody who, above all, really value being independent. I don't love to lean on people for other things. I don't like to be dependent on other people for other things. And so it takes that moment of humility for me to go, okay, Isaac, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to approach this with that different frame of thought, right? Reframe that in your mind into a way that's positive. You don't know how to approach this challenge, and you do need help. You need somebody to show you the way. Yeah. And for me, that's one of the hardest things, is to actually step. That's a huge comfort zone for me, because it's like, well, you don't have whatever you need for yourself. Like, what the heck's the deal, man? Yeah. And I struggle with that a lot, really. But it's good, because whenever I approach Rudy, he usually, and if he does, he's joking, but he usually doesn't give me a hard time about it. And he usually doesn't belittle whatever problem I bring to the table. He will, in that moment, take it as seriously as I'm taking it, and then show me how I'm going about it wrong, or what I can do differently to solve that problem. And throughout the time I've been here, it's been a huge resource to me, and I appreciate that.
No, it's my pleasure, bro. You know, my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Man.
So,
Yeah.
but
it's beautiful. It's
yeah,
good.
so I mean, that's all we can do, man. Inspire everybody, man.
That's
Love
it.
everybody.
And hopefully today inspires people to get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Things that they've had on that bucket list that they've wanted to do, but haven't for whatever reason. Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they just don't feel like they have the time. Make the time. Be fearless, because fear's not going to go away.
Yeah.
Get some friends together, motivate each other, and go out and do it.
I think another thing too is look yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Take that look at yourself and be honest with yourself, because we live in this culture nowadays where it's, oh, everything's okay, it's fine to be this, it's fine. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You need to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is BS. This is unacceptable, and I'm going to do what it takes to change it. Nice. And I think that people aren't necessarily hard enough on themselves in that nature, because the media, the culture, like I said, we live in, it's, you know, sugar-coated everything. You need to peel that sugar coating off and get to what's underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You got to be real with you, but you also, you also have to be kind to yourself. You know, a lot of people have issues with, like, they're not kind to themselves. They don't like the person they see in the mirror.
But don't be too
I
kind
think you
to
have to
yourself
earn
either.
that for yourself.
But-
I think you can be kind to
Sometimes
yourself.
you also got to beat your own ass.
Yeah,
Right.
No, but
Truly.
but it is a balance.
Yeah.
It's a balance.
No, you can't constantly belittle yourself and
but you
hold
can't be
yourself
too nice
under.
to each other.
You got to whoop your own ass in gear sometimes.
And like,
Yeah.
and what they
But
say,
you also have to be grateful for the moments
Yes,
too, and
yes.
take them in and appreciate the
Yes.
successful things, the good things, and then move on. You know, boom.
you just gotta learn to find that balance, man. That balance, and that's the important thing. Is like, happiness is balance. If you can find a balance with everything you want to do, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna be.
And I will say, I've never been good at balance. What I've found for me is learning to be present, not necessarily balanced, because I'm not good at balance. Everybody that knows me knows. I mean, we went 195 degrees last night.
And you were holding the thermometer, make it hotter, man.
Minutes, and I kept holding the thermometer
your
to
fingertips
make it
off.
hotter, burning my
still
fingerprints
smooth?
now. Yeah, they're still smooth. But that's, I don't mean to do that, but it's how I am.
He likes to torture himself,
Torture all of us at the same time.
so he has a balance on torture.
But I found over time, like, because I wasn't balanced, all I would do was, I was a workaholic growing up, right? Or an alcoholic or drug addict, and then became a workaholic, and
All in on whatever it is
all
you're
in
doing.
on whatever I do.
Yeah.
So I realized, like, okay, my personality, that's kind of how I'm wired, but as long as I could be present wherever I'm at and make sure I have moments of being present.
But that is the balance.
In the times I need to be present, I can be all in there, and I guess I could say unbalanced in that moment, but in that moment and all in, giving everything I have in that moment.
Yeah.
And then instantly go into the next moment, all in, giving everything I have. So you're right. That's my form of balance.
Yeah, it's like a
is by
modified balance.
It's like a modified balance. Learning to be present in each situation.
Yeah.
Well, there was
All
this
in.
YouTuber I listened to a lot towards the beginning of the year, and one thing he said is like, kind of like you said, Rudy, like if you want that happiness, you have to find that balance, which I agree with to a certain extent, but I do resonate with what that gentleman had said, which is like, if you want balanced results, you live a balanced life. If you want extreme results, you live an extreme life.
Bam.
Right?
Yeah.
And I guess that you have to pick your sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, but living in that extreme life, I mean, how far can you?
Well, I've been around for 45 years, and I feel like I have 55 more to go. I'm just
What I'm saying,
anybody that knows me.
What I'm saying is,
knows.
you have those ups and downs,
No,
ups and
truly.
downs, ups and
Well,
downs.
that's
you know,
life, though.
you know.
That is life.
But when you live a balanced life, you have like little small.
I guess
laws.
maybe it's defining that balance, and maybe it goes back to how easy you're being on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because I remember I suffered from a lot of burnout towards the end of this last year,
Yeah.
right, and into the beginning of this year, because there was zero balance, right? It was on the far on the extreme side, and so you have to have some kind of a balance. But then I went kind of way off to the other side, where it was now it's too much slack. Now there's too much time, and I'm not working nearly hard enough.
Which was part of your learning lesson in life, right?
Definitely.
You needed to go through that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no rule book.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody's wired differently.
Yeah.
Everybody has different, scenarios, home lives, business lives. I mean, we're all going to handle it. And, I really believe as long as we're thriving to be the best version of us that we can be every day, that's the goal, right? To learn and grow and be the best version of us that we can be for others so that we can serve and help
That's right.
better the community
That's right.
and the people around us. And,
Yeah.
we're always going to fall short, but that's okay, man. That's how we grow too.
Right.
Right? We grow together when we fall short. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes those lessons cost, but I seem to remember and learn more from the ones that hurt more and
Yeah.
cost more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hate to say
I
that.
work out
but-
with my buddy Kevin Soto. He's a physical therapist. He actually
Yeah.
just graduated.
Oh, nice.
We
Congrats to
were
him, man.
enemies
That's
in
huge.
high school.
Were
Enemies.
you arch
Hated
enemies?
each other.
Right.
Hated each other. I remember
The Joker and Batman.
I got a bow and arrow
Yeah.
one summer, and I was doing pull-ups off of tree branches, training for the day I might have to fight this guy. He was way bigger than me, still is, giant guy. But I got back into working out at the beginning of this year, and well after we became friends, we're pretty close now. He'll text me just to check up, kind of guy.
Yeah,
Awesome
yeah,
guy.
good dude.
Love.
Right on.
If you ever see this, Kevin, I love you. And when he's working out,
Yeah.
and he's getting like towards that max effort, he like will say, he puts the way he says like, oh, that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens. And so
Nice.
I've adopted that when I'm getting near like my limit.
Yeah.
And then you finish what you're doing and you put the weight down, like, that's where the magic happens.
That's right, man.
There you go.
That's where the magic happens. I love it.
When you get to that
Well,
uncomfortable
That
feeling.
being said, I think this is where the magic happens, and we have to tell all our viewers till next time.
Next
Till
time,
next
guys.
time.
Till next time, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We love you. Real Talk out.